Well, I tell you what, talk about standing back and admiring your work. I don't think we'll find that happening in this upcoming bout, a welterweight bout between Raul Frank and Vernon Forrest. Vernon Forrest has indicated that he's a little frustrated. He wants to be done with this, that they have been attached at the hip for 15 months, he and Frank, and he wants to dispatch of that nightmare. Jim Lampley will explain that a bit more as we head back downstairs once again ringside to Jim Lampley. Jim?
Well, JB, they trained for a couple of months to fight each other on August 26th of last year in Las Vegas. And in the third round of that bout, a clash of heads created a huge cut on the forehead of Raul Frank just under the hairline. And as the result of that, the fight was stopped and became a no contest. Then the rematch was scheduled on 2 separate occasions, and injuries prevented it from taking place. Now, finally, they will get together with each other. Vernon Forrest says, I've spent a whole year preparing for this. Here's how the punches were going by CompuBox numbers in their first fight per round. Forrest landing 16 of 51 through those first 2+ rounds. Frank landing only 6 of 49 punches per round. And, of course, the jab numbers quite similar. Forrest throwing many, landing only 4 out of 27. Frank landing only 2 out of 19. So it was not a distinguished performance by either fighter at the point at which they banged heads and produced the cut that gave them a no contest. Tail of the tape now, and you're looking at welterweight contender Vernon Forrest, who is unbeaten and still searching for that big moment, perhaps a fight against Shane Mosley. It's Forrest, who is 2 years younger, 1 inch taller, a ½ inch longer reach, weighed in 1.75 pounds under the welterweight limit despite his height. And as they come into the ring tonight, Forrest unofficially on our own HBO scale still weighs only 147, as opposed to Frank, who wants to get inside and muscle him and outweighs him unofficially by 11 pounds tonight.
I can't recall the last time we've seen a fighter weigh in at the limit 30 hours after the weigh-in, Jim. It could be troubling. I don't know if Forrest is overtrained.
We shall see.
By his own admission, he's been training practically for a year for this fight, but that is surprising.
Just remember, those are unofficial weights at the bottom, produced by our own HBO scale. The New York State Athletic Commission is at great pains to have us let you know that those are not official weights at the bottom. Harold, rules of the bout.
Okay, the Vernon Forrest Raul Frank is scheduled for 12 3-minute rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight, and you cannot be saved by the bell at any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim.
All right, thank you very much, Harold. Raul Frank from Guyana, a closer look with Larry Merchant.
Raul Frank, childhood friend of Six Heads Lewis, who already has won a title, and he says, however, that he's been attached at the hip with Forrest for this last year. Really, it's been at the head with that clash when they did try to get it, and then the leg, because running on a golf course a couple of days before the rematch was scheduled, he injured himself by stepping into a hole, and here we are back at it again.
And across the ring, unbeaten, untied, and he would say unappreciated, Vernon Forrest. A closer look.
Vernon Forrest, best known in the boxing world for the last man to defeat the outstanding welterweight champion Shane Mosley. That was in the 1992 Olympic trials. He claims, and it has been substantiated, that Mosley has rejected a direct challenge from Forrest without going to a title fight like this. Says his heart has been broken twice by these delays. Tonight, one more chance to become a champion.
And one more chance for us to go to ring announcer Jimmy Lennon Jr. for the official introductions.
Well, fans, at this time we present a World Championship attraction. It is once again brought to you by Don King Productions in association with Madison Square Garden, TVKO, and Budweiser, the undisputed king of beers. This bout is sanctioned by the International Boxing Federation. The president is Hiawatha Night Supervisor Darrell Peoples, along with the New York State Athletic Commission, the chairman Mel Southard, special assistant to the chairman Jim Posanello, medical director is Dr. Barry Jordan, and our physicians at ringside, Dr. William Lathan and Dr. Gerald Varlotta. Introducing to you our 3 judges, scoring the bout from ringside. From Syracuse, New York, Frank Adams. From Harlem, New York, George Colon, and from Riverdale, New Jersey, Steve Weisfeld. And our referee in charge of this bout, he is from Athens, New York, Ken Zimmer. All right, fans, here we go. 12 rounds of boxing for the vacant IBF Welterweight Championship of the World. Introducing to you first on my left, he is fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black trunks and fighting out of Augusta and Atlanta, Georgia. He weighed in at a trim and ready 145 1/4 pounds. He is undefeated at 31 wins, no losses, 25 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the IBF number 2 ranked welterweight contender in the world, introducing the undefeated Vernon Forrest. And his opponent across the ring on my right, fighting out of the red corner, this 12-round vacant championship bout. He is wearing white trunks with red trim, originally from Georgetown, Guyana, now fighting out of Brooklyn, New York. He weighed in at the limit of 147 pounds with a record of 23 wins, 3 losses, and 1 draw. He has 12 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the IBF number 1 ranked welterweight contender, a fighter they call the Shark Hunter's son, introducing Raul Frank. And once again, Ken Zimmer is our referee in charge, now to give instructions, 12 rounds.
Boxers, you already gave me your instructions earlier. I want a nice, clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. Trunks are a little high here. Keep them above the belt. All right, touch glove?
Look his cup.
Yes, I told him.
Last fight started out as a very tactical inside fight. Both fighters expecting this to be a long fight, hoping to wear each other down in the first half of the fight.
Last fight started out profoundly dull. Let's hope this one is more interesting.
That's what I was trying to say, Jim. You put it much better than I did.
Raul Frank hasn't had a completed fight since May 29, 1999. Almost 2 years ago. In those 2 years, he's fought only the partial fight, the 2+ rounds against Forrest that wound up in a no contest. So if ever there was a candidate for ring rust, Frank is your man.
Well, he's only fought about 27 fights, Jim, in 15 years as a professional. Says that what he learned from the first fight was to be more aggressive, and right now he is being more aggressive.
Absolutely, he's thrown a lot more leather here than he did in the first couple of rounds of the fight against Forrest in Las Vegas. Frank's job is to try to get inside of Forrest's reach and long jab. He's been trying to do so early, and now Vernon is firing right hands at him.
I think Forrest has got to settle down and get his left jab working. Everything starts from the left jab, in right back on your left jab.
Break. Step back, hold.
Frank, of course, can't help but remember that last fight where he was bleeding like that. He's going to be reluctant to keep his head away from the other guy's head.
Both camps expressing in our meetings yesterday that because of the way the fighters' styles mesh, there's every chance they could bang heads again. Now Forrest at range where he's most effective, and you see him firing the right hand. Frank ducks back inside to try to get closer to Forrest's body where he's better off.
I think he's inside trying to get out of the way more than trying to be effective.
Yeah, neutralize Forrest's long-range punching.
Oh, then keep safe. Forrest is throwing some leather out there, so you better get in there to stay safe. Keep yourself safe.
Well, Frank is paying a price right now for being aggressive. He's walking into some stiff punches. Let's see if he can walk through the fire and maintain aggressiveness.
Forrest is doing a good job of going to the body also. He just threw a couple of left hook, right hands to the body.
Yep, threw a right hand right on the belt line of Raul Frank. Referee Ken Zimmer's view was shielded. There's a hard right to the body by Frank.
Now that's what you got to do. If you're going to get close, do something. Don't just get in there to stay safe.
Already a trickle of blood from the nose of Frank.
From the left nostril, it was the result of that solid right hand that Vernon Forrest threw.
Break, one punch, step back.
As round one comes to a close, let's go to Felix Trinidad's dressing room and hear referee's instructions from Arthur McCanty Jr. to Tito.
Buenas noches. I expect a nice, clean fight.
Espero una pelea limpia.
You've been here plenty of times. It's your show. Just listen to my commands, and we'll have a nice, clean fight.
Tú has estado mucho tiempo. Tú sabes cuáles son las reglas. O sea, esperamos una pelea limpia.
Lots of luck. God bless.
Mucha suerte y Dios te bendiga.
Good luck, gentlemen.
And you! You got your sea legs now, okay, kid? You keep boxing them. You hear me? You keep boxing them. That was a close round. Yeah. Easy, you don't need that.
This guy ain't got nothing for you. Use the face. When he go down, shoot that right uppercut, okay? Because the right uppercut's there. Come back with the hook right hand, right behind him. All right? Come on, baby, let's go.
That's Ron Shields training Vernon Forrest. You saw Al Mitchell in the background, who formerly worked with many amateurs and Olympians.
Last time you saw Ronnie Shields here on TVKO, he was making a valiant effort as trainer to get his fighter David Tua to commit and fight against Lennox Lewis. Unsuccessful. Round two begins with some good body punching from Forrest, and Forrest swinging away upstairs, trying to load up one big right hand and get rid of Frank.
All right, break. Step back.
Although he has very long arms, Forrest has shown that he can fight inside.
All right, break. Break clean. Let go.
Frank just hasn't figured out how he's going to fight this guy yet. Throwing a lot of shots, but you can see he's capable of doing a better job. We just haven't figured out yet. Should he go with the jab a little more? Bob and weave? Just hasn't figured it out yet. He has an excellent jab when he steps in. And he counters good. Frank does. But you can't stand out there with the taller guy. You just got to do something.
Break, break. Step back.
You see Frank is starting to take over with a better jab now. Jabbing to the body.
Yeah, there you go.
All of the things that the taller man is supposed to be doing, he's doing.
Round two, a better one than was round one for Raul Frank. Although Forrest landed a couple of big shots early in the round, Frank has been the aggressor through the round's second minute. Good left hook inside by Vernon Forrest.
Break out, break out.
After watching the 2-minute rounds of the ladies, these rounds seem like they're going on forever.
You think they seem like it to you? You should be up there.
Just trying to hold my arms up for 3 minutes, George, would be a triumph for me.
Same here. Same here.
All right, break. Stop. Stop.
And as round two comes to a close, we're starting to see more grabbing and holding, more tying each other up inside. more chance that the two heads will bang together as they did in Vegas last August.
Stop. Baby, you're the champ of the world. He's breathing through his mouth in the second round. You're the champ of the world.
Deep breath. Deep breath. Listen, he got like 2 more rounds in him. All right? Stay focused.
Keep boxing him, baby, dog.
Keep banging the body behind the jab. All right? Don't lean in. Fake jab.
Hands down. Take that deep breath now. Give me them 3 deep breaths.
Fake the jab, keep your hands up. Coming over the right hand. Rock and roll. Come back to the up the middle.
Give me some more water.
Leaning in. Okay. All right.
No, give me that gun.
Second down. Go.
Try the corner guy.
I got you, baby. Go ahead, I got you.
Thank you.
Wait for the bell.
Round 3 of a scheduled 12 rounds between Raul Frank and Vernon Forrest. They're fighting for the welterweight title belt, which was vacated by Felix Trinidad when he moved up to 154 pounds.
Felix may lead the league in vacated titles because if he wins the main event tonight, he will vacate 2 of the 154-pound titles.
Can't wait to hear what Harold Letterman has to say about this fight, because it seems that Frank is starting to take over. It seems.
Certainly Frank's corner thought that way between rounds. You heard Al Banani saying, you're going to be the champion of the world. Forrest only has a couple of rounds left in him. Forrest has thrown a lot of hard shots early. And George, you always point out that when you throw hard shots and you miss, they take a lot out of it.
Yeah, you got to make certain that you've gone to the body with a few of those. You get tired, the other man has to be equally as tired. If you've just thrown those punches and missed, that goes all that road work.
Fighters love road work, don't they, George? They just love it. They say, I want to get out and run even after my fight is over. Not many.
Not many at all.
Well, after a brisk round 1, the fight has reverted to what they did in the first few rounds of the first fight. Frank is not quite as aggressive as he was before, and he's now just trying to make a good boxing contest out of it.
Leads right hand. He doesn't intend to throw a left hook and back. That's how he get tangled up. Frank has got to think about throwing one and coming back with another shot.
Frank, go off his head.
Crowd is wondering why Christy Martin and Kathy Collins couldn't have fought a few more rounds.
Collins landed the harder shots. She had the better right hand in the whole package.
Raul Frank going to the body down the stretch here in round 3. Trying to pound some more stamina out of Vernon Forrest. There's a hard right hand by Forrest. It drives Frank back momentarily.
Most telling barrage of punches yet in the fight.
Frank, step back.
Now, this is when you've been out of action for a long time. You can't afford to have a guy leaning on your back like Frank is allowing Forrest to do, bending him down like that. That's what'll bring you down quick.
Well, they've lasted a little longer than they did last August when it was stopped into third after the accidental butt. 9 more rounds still to go between Vernon Forrest and Raul Frank, fighting for a vacated welterweight title. Still to come, heavyweights Chris Bird and Maurice Harris. Great style matchup. Bird maybe not as elusive as he used to be earlier in his career. Harris becoming a more powerful puncher after having been mostly a boxer earlier in his heavyweight career.
You settle when you come back. You don't rush it, okay? Then drill a shot.
Come on now, come on. Abi.
All right. Stop going behind that jab and stay
with that
jab. And we gave you
Stay
your
with
rounds. Now it's time for you to give us what we want now.
There you
okay?
go. You gave me
now
the first
stop
2
giving
rounds
it to us.
right?
You're too good a box.
Okay, just leave this right here, okay? Okay. Now look, stay with the jab, stay with the jab.
There at the end of the round, Forrest got some clean licks in.
There's a pushing down of the head there.
Forrest, who was bald the last time they were fighting, I believe, has grown a head of hair. Could have grown a beard.
Harold, how'd you score through 3?
Larry, I think he grew the hair to avoid a headbutt. Okay, 30-27, 3-0, Vernon Forrest. Jim, Raul Frank, he takes a tremendous shot, but he's not doing enough on offense. He's really not getting in enough hard shots to win a round. Vernon Forrest doing most of the hard punching. I think he's winning it on clean punching with that hard right hand and a good left jab. But I got to tell you, Jim, those trunks, I don't know. I have never seen trunks like that.
You're speaking frankly, of course. Larry, what do you have?
I scored the second round even, and I thought the third round was very close. Frank might have won the round. Forrest, with that rally at the end of the round, might have pulled it out.
They just came very close to a clash of heads. And I think just to round out the variety here, George, you probably think Frank has won 2 out of 3 rounds, right?
Well, I told you I had to wait until Harold Letterman come in. He straightened me out, believe me.
All right, okay. So you're going to defer to Harold on this, huh?
This time, I was thinking, but then I'm not.
Oh, there's a good feint and a hard right hand by Forrest. And there's a left hook. And Frank again demonstrates that he takes a heck of a shot.
Or that Forrest doesn't deliver a heck of a shot.
Well, that's an interesting question. Forrest has 25 knockouts in 31 fights, but nobody seems to think of him as a big puncher.
Because he's so rangy and has this elusiveness about him.
If it's a close fight, Forrest probably is going to get the nod for the simple reason that he's landing more big, clean, easy to see shots.
Absolutely, cleaner punching.
Frank seemed to think he can knock this guy out. He hasn't tried to build up a lot of points.
Well, I imagine Frank doesn't think he would get a decision over Vernon Forrest. Forrest is by far the higher marquee item. Maybe Frank feels like he has to get a knockout and can't risk going to the scorecards.
This pushing down on his head constantly like that, he's been out so long, so few fights, he would barely be able to make it.
I wonder if Frank knows that going into this fight, he had a 10-pound edge. Because of what they weighed in their dressing rooms.
Probably is not even aware of it.
In the first minute of this round, round 4, the two fighters very nearly duplicated the clash of heads that led to the no contest in Vegas last year. There's another clean, straight right-hand shot by Vernon Forrest to punctuate the round. But let's take a look back, Larry, as they almost did it again.
Right there. Maybe that haircut or that hair growth is what has kept this fight going.
All right, keep your head
Last
up,
August, Raul Frank got 20 stitches for the cut that he sustained in that fight.
Look, that was a wonderful round to the last right hand.
Right hand, keep it up. You hear me?
You're doing wonderful.
Breathe, breathe.
She's doing good.
You got there, baby. Come on.
Begin with the jab and finish with the jab.
Vernon, think about what you're doing, okay? Think before you act. When you get close, I want both hands moving with this guy. Not one punch. Don't give me one punch. Move both hands, okay? Yeah, that's how, Ralph.
Ronnie Shields worked so hard to try to get his fighters to stick to the game plan. He wants Vernon Forrest to start with the jab and finish with the jab. Now Vernon trades jabs with Frank to begin round 5.
That's good advice, and that's what Vernon Forrest was doing early on. He started with the jab and would go right back to it after he did what he had to do. Good advice.
Now Forrest using the jab to set up the right hand. And there's a swelling around the outside of Raul Frank's left eye.
Get hit enough for those right hands.
Yeah, you'll swell.
All right, break it
Yeah.
break it out, guys. Let go.
He's on him like an end swell.
trying to step inside Forrest's range. Probably needs to punch more often to get inside there. Now he works behind the jab. Tries to slip Vernon Forrest's jab to get inside.
That's why Frank jumps in a lot of the shots, because he's not sure he's at range to be hit back. So he'll jab a little bit and then he'll jump in with a shot and everything stops.
Frank digging in here. Going to Vernon Forrest's body. Forrest fending him off and getting ready to try to land another big right-hand shot.
Break clean. Break. Step back.
They wrestle each other from one side of the ring to the other.
We figured we were going to see a lot of rounds tonight before we got to the main event, and we're seeing a lot of rounds.
Forrest does not want to get into a pushing and shoving match. He's going to lose that one. Legs are a little too thin for that. Do the talking with your punches. Make the referee break it. Sometimes when you start pushing those stronger guys away, your legs start to give out. Frank has gained almost 10 pounds more since the weigh-in.
Well, so far for Vernon Forrest, it's been miss and hit. That round, no exception, as early in the round, Forrest missed some big shots.
But he was able to gauge him eventually. And if there's a difference in this fight, it was the ability with the right hand that Forrest has made. Right there, two more clean right hands. And Frank doesn't have an answer for it yet. He better find one soon.
Both hands with this guy. Both hands with this guy. Come on, let me see you back this guy.
And when he's coming in, hop back and uppercuts and hooks. He's coming in with it.
Take that right hand to the body here if he bends over.
Pay attention to your corner, son. Use that jab.
You're winning this fight. Keep winning it.
Seconds out.
Take the fight.
Al Banani of Miami telling Raul Frank, you're winning this fight, keep winning it. Interesting difference of opinion, because our unofficial score at ringside, Harold Letterman, I believe, has given every round to Vernon Forrest. Yes, he has. So Banani's either seen a different fight or simply wants to keep his fighter psyched up and thinking positively.
It may be a closer fight than the score indicates. Sometimes when rounds are close, the judges consciously or unconsciously will alternate giving it to one fighter and the next.
You got to ask the judge about that. He is the judge. I think those right hands to the body by Frank starting to build up something here. Right on the back, he almost landed that right hand.
Frank bravely taking leather to push Forrest into the corner, landing a couple of good hard punches of his own, while Forrest was landing a combination in return.
Forrest is starting to have his back closer and closer to the ropes. That's what you want to do when you're fighting a boxer. Keep his back closer and closer to the rope. Keep your hand on him. If you're not even hitting, keep your hands on him. Keep the fight from being in the middle of the ring.
You know, here are two fighters fighting the most important part of their life, training for the best part of a year for it, doing their very best, and most of the people here in the Garden could care less. They're here to see Tito Trinidad and William Joplin.
That's the way it's been at those big concerts. No matter how good the undercards are, they wait for the main event.
Raul Frank leaning on Vernon Forrest. Forrest trying to find room to throw his right hand. 6 of a scheduled 12 rounds in the books. Let's go to our Fran Charles, standing by with Evander Holyfield.
All right, Jim, Evander, let's get right to it. Major shakeup in the heavyweight division with Rahman defeating Lewis. What does it do for boxing?
Well, it changed a lot of circumstances, more opportunities since Rahman won the title.
It's been reported that Rahman has signed with Don King and that he'll face Brian Nielsen on the undercard of your fight against John Ruiz, the 3rd fight. A good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a good thing, you know. At least we'll get on the heavyweight champ of the world again. I think it's just make it better for the game of boxing, either way it goes, because now everybody realizes that they have an opportunity to be the heavyweight champ of the world.
Okay, and your thoughts quickly on the main event?
Well, it's going to be a great fight. You know, it's kind of up and, you know, Jopper got the harder punch, but Trinidad do have the boxing skills, so it can go either way.
Evander Holyfield, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All right, Jim.
Thank you very much, Fran Charles. Also in the audience here tonight, the man who lifted the heavyweight title from Lennox Lewis down in Johannesburg 3 weeks ago, Hasim Rahman. We'll be talking to him upstairs as soon as this fight is concluded.
The very rich Rahman. He's got money now.
He hit the lottery, as Bernard Hopkins said. Rahman hit the lottery. Harold, how do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim. 6-0, 60-54, Vernon Forrest. Jim, I'll tell you what that extra 10 pounds is doing for Raul Frank. When he ties up Vernon, he easily spins him around. I mean, he can push him into the ropes, ride him into the ropes, lean on him, spin him around, turn him, anything he wants. I mean, Vernon is very weak in those clinches, without question. But with the clean, effective right hand being landed by Vernon Forrest, he's winning the rounds. Raul Frank still takes a tremendous punch.
I have it 4 rounds to 1 and 1 even.
Meanwhile, Raul Frank's left eye continues to swell as Forrest continues to try to target it with the right hand.
Frank just can't seem to find the range to hit Forrest. He just can't seem to find the range. He's got the heart, got the drive, no range. Doesn't have the range yet.
Frank getting inside and pounding Forrest with a couple of body shots.
Break it out, guys.
Referee Ken Zimmer has his work cut out for him as the 2 fighters clinch, hold. Their heads flirt with one another over and over. Big right hand by Forrest. And Frank wraps him up. Oh, big left uppercut by Forrest. Terrific body shot. Left hook landed.
Frank landed a good left hook.
What a beard Frank has. Another good left hook inside by Forrest. Raul Frank walking right into it.
I think that Frank has done a lot better than he realizes down in the body.
Well, what he does realize is that he has to stay inside and
break it up,
try to make something happen and make it happen fast.
Let's go, break it up. Watch the low one.
A very gritty performance by Raul Frank because he's on the end of those long, hard, clean punches.
This has been a huge round of power shots for Vernon Forrest, who in the last minute and a half has landed a series of accurate blows with both hands.
right hand that has been the difference in this fight. Maybe that long reach is also what convinced Shane Mosley or his handlers to stay away from Forrest until they find out whether Oscar De La Hoya will be available for a big fight in the fall.
Listen, you got to keep that right here, right here. Right here at the side.
Listen to me. Raul, straighten that right hand out now.
Catch the power punch number for Forrest at the bottom of the graphic. 29 out of 43 power punches landed in that round.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
You understand? Move your hands, combinations with this guy. Let's go, both hands.
So as round 8 begins, the question that comes to my mind is how much more of this can Raul Frank take?
Forrest corner told him to go both hands to the body. Go, 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 go. That may be an opportunity for Frank. Get him in a mix-up. Got the shorter punches. Catch him in that mix-up and load up on 1 or 2.
Oh, solid right hand again for Vernon Forrest.
Break. Get back, Bolton. Get back. Work it clean. Get out. All right, break. Don't punch. Don't punch.
Folks, we've got a 12-round fight scheduled after this one. And it isn't the fight you bought to see.
No, but it's a heavyweight fight.
That one
Another
buckled.
accurate combination by Forrest, who twice crashes perfect right crosses off the jaw of Raul Frank. There's a good left hook by Forrest, and Frank just keeps coming.
It looked like for a moment he was just going to pitch forward.
These exchanges happen to be Frank's best opportunity. Catch him in one of those exchanges. He's winning the fight 1 or 2 punches at a time. Make him throw 5 or 6 and you're close to get in a good hook.
You think like a puncher, George.
Yep, you got to think like a puncher if you're sure not winning a boxing match.
You know,
this guy's not a boxer tonight.
The puncher thinks he's hitting me, he's hitting me, he's hitting me. I got him just where I want him.
That's the way Frank better start thinking, because he's not going to win this fight on points.
We saw Evander Holyfield moments ago, memorably in his first fight with Riddick Bowe, that incredible 10th round where he was reeling around for the first minute and a half, hurt, staggered, but he came back in the second half of the round. When he was asked later what was he thinking about in those first parts, he says, I knew I had him there.
We got 9, 10, 11, and 12 championship rounds.
That's the way
we
he
need every
thinks.
one. We're a little behind, all right? You hear me? Everyone, deep breath. Breathe.
Pump it up, breathe. Deep breath.
Give me that other towel. It's a dirty one.
I need that one back.
All right, you got it.
Yeah. Don't just lay that jab out there. Step it. When you get close, shoot the uppercuts first, then go with your hooks. You got to throw combinations with the guy. Don't be satisfied with this guy holding you. You understand? Throw his fucking ass down. I don't care.
Bump him back.
You
Bump him
understand?
back.
Throw
But
him
don't
down,
just
bump
let
him,
him
push
hold
him.
This is the best Vernon Forrest has looked in a while. He's coming up big in his big fight.
Go, seconds out. Let's go. Go.
You rough out this fucking guy. Go. Rough out this fucking guy.
Talking about George thinking like a puncher reminds me of one other heavyweight battle. History will record as a footnote only that Michael Moore won the first 9 rounds against George Foreman. What mattered was what happened in the 10th. And there is the score of Harold Letterman at the bottom of your screen as round 9 begins. Vernon Forrest has not thrown that many uppercuts in the fight. And as Raul Frank continues to step straight in, you wonder if a well-timed uppercut wouldn't seal the deal for Vernon.
He's got Vernon Forrest thinking just enough to get out of the way without trying to well-time a shot like that. Getting rough now.
It's box, both of you.
Break, step back, step back.
Vernon Forrest comes from Augusta, Georgia. I believe that was the home of the famous lightweight champion Bo Jack back in the 40s.
And the singer James Brown, he was a boxer there, you know.
Was he?
Yeah. He was a boxer. They all followed that fighter, huh?
Bo Jack once fought in Madison Square Garden, I believe, 3 times in a month. Packed the house every time.
Hard left to the body by Forrest. Just a little short with the right hand across the top.
Forrest is trying to dig in now. Leaning to the left, throwing right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And Raul Frank waves at the official timekeeper to say that's not a knockdown, and then Zimmer agrees with him. So it was a slip. Still no knockdowns in the fight.
Well, I don't know what Raul Frank plans to do when his fighting career is over, but he's already shows promise as a referee.
Vernon Forrest, if he continues at this pace, picks up the IBF welterweight title belt, which was long ago vacated by Felix Trinidad when he moved up to 154 pounds. So quickly, with Larry Merchant, let's take a look at the top welterweight fighters in the world.
Here they are, Shane Mosley, along with the man you've come to see tonight, Tito Trinidad, regarded as the best fighters in the world, pound for pound. Vernon Forrest, Andrew Sixheads Lewis, countryman of Frank, has won a title. And of course, Oscar De La Hoya is still a welterweight, and he'd be number 2 here if he wasn't moving up to 154 next month, and thinking about whether he wants to stay at 54, come down to 47, depending on who he will fight next.
There's former United States Olympic middleweight Chris Bird, now fighting as a professional heavyweight, and he has a chance to polish his apple tonight against Maurice Harris. The winner of that bout will move closer to a potential heavyweight title shot down the road. In round 9, by CompuBox numbers, Frank threw only 32 punches to 55 for Forrest. Forrest landing 19 of his 55, Frank 12 of his 32. They come out and begin trading again in round 10.
Forrest working on his left hook here now. I guess if you get hit with enough right hands, you start to try to get away from it, George.
No doubt about that.
Harold Letterman, how do you have it scored through 9?
Okay, Jimmy, I got it 9-0, 90-81, Vernon Forrest. Jimmy had a huge right hand with that right hand, a huge round 8 with that right hand, and a pretty good round 9. Jim, what happened in round 9 was when Raul Frank slipped down, the extra referee called the knockdown timekeeper immediately starts to count, because if it is a knockdown, referee Ken Zimmer working in the ring would have to get the standing fighter to a neutral corner and then pick up the count. The referee in the ring usually waves off the knockdown timekeeper if it's a slip. In this case, Raul Frank waved off the knockdown timekeeper.
Good job, Raul. Meanwhile, he's taken 2 more huge shots from Forrest, a straight right hand and a left hook, both of which landed flush. So if this continues this way, Larry, and goes to a decision, will the review be that Forrest was overwhelmingly dominant and therefore looked good, or will it be that he didn't have the punching power to put a guy away when he hit him with a lot of clean shots?
Well, it'll get lost in the hoopla over the main event. But I think in the boxing world, this will be a performance that's appreciated, certainly by Shane Mosley, who sees him as an opponent down the road. I don't know that Shane Mosley's going to get hit with those big, long right hands, but Vernon Forrest, with his height, is something to be reckoned with.
And of course, as Larry pointed out before the fight, Vernon Forrest was the last man to beat Shane Mosley when he got a decision over him in the Olympic trials in 1992. Mosley spent years recovering as an attraction in the sport from that loss at the trials. Anything changing, George?
Frank is still persistent, although he's not finding a way to win this fight. You can't tell him that he's not trying.
Frank landed a right hand, countering there after Vernon Forrest landed a short right hand inside.
When a guy keeps trying, there's always a way.
Main event still to come. Felix Tito Trinidad fighting for the first time at the 160-pound weight level, fighting against William Joppy, a career middleweight. And as they sit in their dressing rooms and continue to prepare for the big fight tonight, there'll be a heavyweight bout between Chris Bird and Maurice Harris before Trinidad and Joppy enter the ring. William Joppy, whose only career loss took place here against Julio Cesar Green in 1997. He says, "I'm happy to be fighting in Madison Square Garden again so I can erase my bad memories." Here in the arena, the crowd begins to chant Tito, Tito, Tito in expectation of what is yet to come. Our shots in round 10 by CompuBox numbers. Forrest 24 out of 42. Frank 11 out of 24.
Vernon Forrest showing that he really knows how to fight, George. Right hands, the jab, the hook. He's gone to the body. Oh.
Steps in with a lead right hand whenever he wants.
And then comes back with a vicious left to the body. What's holding Frank up?
Guts, will, heart, courage, determination.
Now bleeding from the mouth.
Vernon Forrest in a race against time to try to get Shane Mosley to fight him before Mosley moves up to the 154-pound division somewhere in the perhaps not too distant future.
My understanding of what happened in the negotiations was that Forrest offered to fight Shane Mosley before he went for the title here, a number of months ago, while Mosley was thinking of fighting the tough Australian Shannon Taylor. Mosley had a slight hernia situation that he was overcoming, and he didn't feel that he would be 100% to fight somebody like Forrest, so he took on Taylor. Now is the question of, will they get the big fight against Oscar De La Hoya? And that's what's putting them on hold into the decision on who to fight in July, his next fighting date.
Frank is a guy to reckon what I tell you. Forrest didn't have that long reach. I wonder how things would be.
Frank, keep it clean, guys. Watch your hand in there.
Forrest got a...
Stop.
He's ready to tie you up. Just can't do anything but just like an octopus. Holds you.
Stop. Break it up.
One round to go. Vernon Forrest, with 4 previous wins, going past the 10th round,
Come on, let's go. Come on.
appears in command here.
Don't left nothing back. Sir.
Nothing. Go for it like you need one.
You're stronger right now.
Come on.
Don't get sloppy.
Life or death, right?
Yeah.
This is fucking death. The last round. Okay? Look, I want you throwing punches with this guy. When you're moving to your right, shoot the jab, shoot the right hand, bring the hook back behind it. When you get...
Last round.
The last one, sir.
I want you to swallow.
Gotta stop this guy now. Fade in, man. Bring it up the middle.
Give me 3 minutes. Huh? Can't you give me 3 fucking minutes? Just give me 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Ronnie Shields asks for 3 minutes. Raul Frank's corner told him, throw punches, you need a knockout. Frank hasn't lost a fight in 8.5 years, since December of 1992. 10-round decision to a fighter named Michael Benjamin. He's fought a very sparse schedule since then, but managed to get himself into this position with 8 unbeaten years. Harold Letterman, how do you have it scored going to the final round?
Okay, Jim, I still got it a shutout, 11-0, 110-99, Vernon Forrest. It's just that big right-handed. He pounded away, pounded away, pounded away. But I got to tell you, Jim.
Not a knockdown, a slip.
That was a questionable slip. It really was.
Yeah,
Look
but
how you went that on the
Frank made the
left hook.
ruling again, Harold.
I thought the punch wrapped around Frank and hurled him down. It didn't really knock him down. Frank seems game. They're just outclassed tonight.
If you're going to be that height as Frank, you got to fight a lot. Everything is depending upon your timing. Slip and move and
You're
then
saying
step in.
his inactivity has hurt him.
Yeah, it's hurt him. You can see he thinks the right things. He's about to do them, but then he comes out on the wrong end of everything.
Restless crowd waiting to see Tito Trinidad and William Joppy. If they're restless now, wait till they see the next fight.
Are you speculating on the entertainment value of our heavyweight attraction here?
No, I just think they're restless, and it'll take a real strong action fight to get their attention. And it doesn't figure to be that.
You know, boxing, more than politics, makes for exceedingly strange bedfellows. Over on the far side of the ring, and we probably won't be able to get a camera shot of it for you, but I got to tell you, Evander Holyfield and John Ruiz are sitting 3 seats apart, as though they're good buddies. they'll be fighting for the third time sometime later this year.
I think the promoter gave them those seats.
That's right. The promoter gave them the seats.
You got to take what they give you.
You guys go have a good time together.
To his credit, Forrest isn't coasting. Ron Shields, his trainer, wouldn't let him.
Step back, step back.
A battered and swollen Raul Frank makes it to the finish line against Vernon Forrest. And with an appealing piece of audacity, holds up his gloves.
Well, we said he was a referee, not a judge.
Harold Letterman's scorecard, I believe, will be 120 to 108. But let's take a look at total punch stat numbers. Harold, I didn't mean to lead you too soon. Don't worry. You'll get to it. Final punch stat numbers, and you can see that by CompuBox estimate, Vernon Forrest landed 65 more, threw 134 more, landed at a higher percentage. Definitely he landed the cleaner and bigger shots throughout most of the fight. Power punches, big edge for Forrest, landing almost half of his attempted power shots. Frank didn't do too badly, 101 out of 249. Just didn't seem to have enough mustard on his shots to really move Forrest or change the fight in his favor.
You see Don King's in the ring holding an American flag. Oh, he got a Puerto Rican flag also. So I was about to say he may know who's going to win this fight. Thought he had just one up.
Well, you know, if Raul Frank had just put up a huge performance, Don might have a Guyana flag somewhere around, huh? Could have brought that into the ring.
2 flags done.
Harold, how'd you score it?
Okay, Jim, 120, 108, 12-0. Jim, I got it real quick. Raul Frank insisted on Everlast gloves. Now, that may have had something to do with it. Obviously, he figured that Vernon Forrest was the puncher. This fight was the only fight on the card where they didn't use Reyes gloves. Raul Frank wanted Everlast. They used Everlast.
So you think that was a factor in him going 12 full rounds?
Well, that and the fact that Vernon Forrest was 147 on the nose tonight.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Came into the ring at the welterweight limit. Now let's go to ring announcer Jimmy Lennon Jr. to find out who won the fight and by what scores.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards. The judges are in agreement with a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judges at ringside, Steve Weisfeld and Frank Adams both scored about 118 to 110. Judge George Colon sees it 120 to 108. All three in favor of the winner, and he is now the IBF welterweight champion of the world, Vernon Forrest.
So at long last, Vernon Forrest has a title belt. And as he celebrates, we offer him our congratulations with all due respect to Forrest and the accomplishment for which he's waited so long. We need to move the program along now, so we will not have a chance to interview him. Let's go straight back up to our host, James Brown.
Well, Jim, Vernon Forrest finally has dispatched of the nightmare that he has had for the past 15 months, that being, of course, Raul Frank, as he now has a perfect mark of 32-0.